Hey guys, I appreciate you guys coming out. Welcome for another edition of Cowboys and Chill. We normally talk about Cowboys football. Ain't much to talk about right now. 2-game losing streak, 3-4. But this is an important time. Just a few days before the election. Election is Tuesday. Have everybody voted?
I have.
Everybody there voted. If you voted, take somebody to the polls. Please take somebody to the polls. Again, this is Clarence Hill, All City, Dallas, and I have an esteemed panel here to talk about the election. Black men for Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. That's our agenda, and we're down for that agenda. Of course, NFL all-time leading Russian king, Emmitt Smith, also the Dancing with the Stars champion. Emmitt Smith.
Lord have mercy.
You'll never. Hey, that's part of your legacy.
It is.
That's
no
part
doubt,
of your legacy
no doubt,
for sure.
No doubt.
The Honorable Mayor Emeritus of Dallas. Emeritus. Ron Kirk.
Yeah.
And of course, former Dallas City Council and now the acting president of the NAACP State of Texas, Casey Thomas.
All right, Casey.
Now, just to bring it home, we got a Q, we got a Sigma, we got a Kappa.
Right. And we got a mayor.
And we got a man. We got a Q and Sigma.
Tell everybody.
We got part of the Divine Nine up here.
One thing I like, certainly bringing Emmitt here because Emmitt has been very vocal about politics. So very vocal about DEI. Mm-hmm. In my time covering the Cowboys, covering sports, NFL players have not been as vocal. Mm-hmm. You got Joey Bosa doing what he does, but our black players have not always been as vocal. Why is that important?
Well, first and foremost, when you think about the black players, the first person coming to mind is Colin Kaepernick.
That's right.
I mean, when you vocal against an institution that's really designed to keep you in your place, things like what happened to Colin Kaepernick actually happens to you. And these are opportunities that players like myself and many others have spent a lifetime trying to get to, and these dollars here do not come easy.
Right.
So you don't want to blow it by just trying to be out front and be as vocal as you need to be. So I understand the dilemma, but it's also reinforcing the institutional power that is over every black man or over a lot of people, including white folks, even though some of them don't realize it,
right?
That institutional power still exists and is there. So I understand, but me being, just somewhat free and free as I can possibly be, I can truly speak my mind without really trying to hurt anybody, but really trying to educate people through the whole entire process. That's really what it's all about. It's like open your eyes. Do not just be blinded by one thing. Be completely open as a human being, as the game of football has always taught us. Be open to adjustments, be open to learn more, and be open to grow as an individual. Because the more you grow, the more you experience, the more you can share, and the more you can understand another person's plight. The problem is most people don't really truly want to understand other people's plight.
Right.
They think it never existed. They think it's just a fad or it's just something that we just talk about. But history has always shown us that we did not come over here swimming. We came over on a boat, and when we got over here on the boat, somebody institutionalized us, and they made a ton of money and left us behind. And it's been that kind of system ever since. Now, we have made progress, but there's more progress to be made. Number one, when you start thinking about the game of football itself, how it evolved. It evolved because the University of Alabama was getting their butt kicked by USC and a couple black players, and Bear Bryant said, I can't take this no more.
Right.
And so, therefore, it opened up the opportunity for African-American football players to go to the University of Alabama. It also created opportunities for black women to go into some of these institutions, because when you think about it from a logical standpoint and the way the system was set up at that time,
right,
they didn't want these black men integrating with these white women. Mm-mm. And so they made sure that black women was on campus so black men had someone that they can go to. Let's be real and honest about it. The problem is most people don't want to be honest about it because it's a reflection in terms of where we once were and who their parents may have been. Not to say that that's who they are, but if you're exercising under these type of institutional things, you are complicit to the process and not really open to change. That's just the bottom line.
That's good.
Why is that important, Mayor?
Well, first of all, I got to give Emmitt credit because you're right. And it's sad that Emmitt's always spoken out. And I'm being a little bit biased because he stood up for me when I ran for mayor. He was with me when I ran for the U.S. Senate. And when I say with me, he didn't just lend his name. He showed up, he campaigned. He did the same thing for President Obama. And I put Emmitt in the same class. I'm older than you all. I grew up in this state when it was still Jim Crow. My heroes were always Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all those that were what they called the Seneca Five. So, the sad thing, there is a rich legacy of our athletes being willing to risk that, as Emmitt said, but to do that for the good of all of us. But to bring that forward now, I just want to make 2 points to all of you here. Looking across this room, it's wonderful. There's so many of us. We span generations. But most of you have grown up in a world in which there were very few things you were told you couldn't do because you were black.
Right.
Yeah.
Because your parents, your grandparents, somebody fought those battles for you. The question for this election is what kind of world do you want your kids to grow up in?
And grandkids.
I mean, when my kid, when I was, for me, and I turned, it's hard, it's taken me 5 months to admit I'm 70 years old.
All right.
But that means when I was born, my parents couldn't vote. They had to pay the poll tax. So for my generation, the whole struggle for equality, voting rights isn't academic. It's real. A little different from my daughters. But it's hard for me to believe my daughters now have less control of their bodies than their mothers and their sisters did. And when we think about this issue of reproductive freedom, you have to put it in the same box as every other freedom. And when we contrast Kamala Harris with her history of service, her intelligence, her integrity with Donald Trump, don't be fooled.
Right.
And, when people sat back, when Trump talked about Mexicans, you thought he was talking about Mexicans. And then ultimately, they got to the Haitians.
Right.
Now they done got to the Puerto Ricans. They're talking about you.
Right.
Donald Trump did not believe in an inclusive society, mainly because he's scared. Trump lives in a world that he can only succeed if white boys have a leg up and have a privilege. So one, they're afraid of you. Why are they afraid of you? Because you have power. And they love nothing more than when you don't exercise that power. And it may not seem like much, but that right to vote is the beginning of the exercise, as Emmitt said, of all that power. There's nothing they can do to keep you from exercising it. But if we want to regain control of the narrative about what this country ought to be, as imperfect as it is, as Emmitt said, even though we may have come over here, and I saw something today that was beautiful, said they thought they were bringing slaves.
Right.
They were bringing engineers and doctors and lawyers and future running backs. But we know the story of our country. The good thing, it has been this constant movement, arc, toward trying to make sure we live up to those ideals that we expressed as a country. The Dr. King said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Well, that means that there are people who don't want it to bend toward justice. And we really are at a critical time right now that we're deciding whether America believes we ought to continue to have a more inclusive America, that everybody can do those things Emmitt said.
Right.
So it's not about, look, we're doing fine. This ain't about us. This is about your kids, your health care, your freedom. And I've got to say this to the men. You have to stop thinking of this battle about reproductive freedom as a women's issue.
Right.
Because if your wife can't get health care, if your wife can't get a job, that impacts the whole family, and that impacts your entire income structure. Right. It is an economic issue. And there are people all over this country right now that companies cannot recruit women to come to Texas because they're like, I'm not going to put myself in the position if something happens. I can't work. And if that's a problem for women in general, you know what that is for our women. Because let's be honest, You know, white folks can find a doctor that said, we had a miscarriage.
Yeah.
You know, and they're cool. Our girls are in a whole different shape. But you have power. All you got to do is exercise it. This is a great opportunity for you to use that power to reclaim that vision that we all have for our country. And Clarence, I can't thank you enough for giving us a chance to share your stage, which we normally talk about the Cowboys, which I have to say, Jerry, I love you. Stop talking. Sit down. Just go sit down.
He ain't gonna stop talking. And we all have daughters. I mean, it's important. I mean, we all have, mothers and wives and daughters and sisters. It's this cause it comes home. And Casey, certainly you were mayor of Dallas. Now you heading things at the state with NAACP. What can we do in Texas? How can we make this Texas blue?
I'm glad you asked that question. So in my individual capacity, I'm with her. And so I want to make sure everyone knows, one thing a lot of people don't know is we have more black people in the state of Texas than any other state in the country.
Right.
How many people knew that?
No. How many people knew there are more blacks in the state of Texas than any other state in the country?
So
California, Michigan, yep. Georgia, there are more blacks in Texas.
You name it. So it would make sense that we would have the largest black turnout than any other state in the country. But that requires us to do some hard work. Generations past, we could say, well, such and such died for the right for you to have the opportunity to vote. But the younger generation, they don't relate to that. So it requires us to do a little bit more homework. It requires us to know what are the issues and why the issues are important and how the issues relate to the younger generation. When George Floyd was murdered, one of the reasons that it affected the whole world was because we were in the middle of a pandemic. The brokest brother and the richest white man all were locked in because we were stuck in the middle of a pandemic. So we didn't have a choice but to watch that on loop on the news because we were stuck in the house. We didn't know if we would infect somebody else by going next door, going down the street, being around Big Mama. We didn't know. But the reason that had such an impact on us is because for the first time, a lot of white people got a chance to see what we've known for decades is the criminal justice system is not designed for us. And so once they began to see that, all of a sudden here it is, they want to change Ain't Your Mama and they want to change all these things. All these things. Because it was politically correct
and convenient
to be able to speak against injustice. But one thing that we didn't count on was the fact that Donald Trump was the president at the time. And so what he was able to do was issue executive orders. He was able to put, if you notice, in Washington, D.C., when he came out and did that fake photo op, he held a Bible upside down. Now, come on now.
Kind of like that McDonald's thing he just did.
Right.
It was fake.
Right. Well, we know he's an actor.
No, what it is, the man, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he is who he is. He's already told everyone the kind of person that he really is. When I look at folks, I like to look at the people from the heart, from the inside out. Now, that don't mean that you can always do everything right.
Right.
But you do have a conscience and you do have morals, values, and consciousness to where you don't always have to belittle someone else just to edify yourself.
That's right.
And so when I look at him and the things that he has said about just about every coach, including some of his own coaching.
Right.
He went after Mike Pence. I mean, so if you're not on my team, you're on the other team. If you're on the other team, you ain't no part of this clique. And so that's for when you saw January the 6th and all those folks marching up there, they was trying to find Mike Pence because Mike Pence was trying to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. And so if you're trying to do the right thing in America, like Colin Kaepernick tried to do the right thing for injustice, he got penalized for it.
All right,
when we try to do the right thing up here at the Capitol, people get penalized for it.
That's right. But Casey hit on something because
yes,
I do realize we're young. And just for 1 minute, if I can get y'all's attention, how many of y'all have had anybody in your family that's ever been in trouble with the law? Anybody got a criminal background?
I don't, but
how many of y'all got anybody in your family bankrupted 5 businesses?
Right.
How many of you work for a company that when somebody applies for a job and they say, have you ever been convicted of a crime? And they say yes, they get considered. How many of you work for a company or in a business that if you ask them, have you ever been accused of sexually assaulting a woman? And they say yes, they get hired. How many of you work for a company if they say, tell me your business background? Well, I didn't have a bunch of businesses, but I bankrupted 6 of them. If you wouldn't hire somebody, a convicted felon, a sexual abuser, and file for bankruptcy 6 times, why would you want them to be in the White House, running the most important country in the world? And Emmitt said something. First of all, y'all, character matters.
It does.
It should
Decency
matter,
matters. And we were all taught that. You treat people the way you ought to be treated. But let me tell you the other thing. Let me flip this. I'm privileged, I'm blessed. I met Kamala Harris 25 years ago. She's a close friend. I know her brother and sister. We work together. We hang out together. She's one of the smartest, most decent, most intelligent, capable women that you could know. And I'm the father of 2 daughters. And I actually thought about writing an editorial. I'm going to change off to this puff stuff. Why is it so hard for us to believe women? And why is it so hard for us to see women the way we see ourselves? We've all been raised by powerful women.
That's right.
Grandmothers, but whether it's the church or whatever, when it's time for women to step up to lead, they got to jump through all these damn hoops. And I remember when I ran for mayor, I was in the barbershop. Like, yeah, I didn't need a haircut. I went for and this guy said, I ain't never seen you in my life. I ain't met you. Why should I vote for you? And thank God, Carl Simon, the head barber over at Grand's Barbershop, said, you vote? He said, yeah, I vote all the time. He said, you know any of them white folk you vote for? You ever seen them in the barbershop?
Exactly.
Why he got to jump through all these hoops? So look, Kamala's got the credentials. This isn't about whether she can do the job. She's been there. She is ready to lead. And I'm telling you, the world is ready for the United States to have a powerful, thoughtful, intelligent woman leading this country to help us turn around.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that's what I wanted to bring up. And that's why it's important when I talked about black men for Kamala Harris, because there's this narrative out there about black men not supporting a black woman and not supporting Kamala. You know, and I know the polls say there's still 7% of black men who are supporting her, but that other 25, you know, there are people. And I think you go back to the Hillary election, you know, there are people who don't think women can lead and are voting against that, black and white men. We got to stop that, you know, and the narrative about, number one, about our time as an attorney general in California, certainly the narrative about her, I mean, everything she does, the way she laughs, you know, everything has been called out.
Some of that is based off of historical narrations, just been passed down through generation after generation, just been recycled right in the midst of this time. I mean, think about it. I mean, instead of painting a black face right now, you can do all these other types of things.
Right.
Just to bring a person's character down and to scare white people from liking that individual. Let's be honest about it. That's really what's happening. So I've seen it happen even through old school channels and everything. And then even through when I trace my roots back, through all the way through Mecklenburg, Virginia, from Burnt Corn, Alabama, all the way to the Benin, Africa, just going through the whole entire process, just opened my mind to the real darkness of what America was like, to see my people travel. And to know that my folks survived so I could even be right here and do what I've been able to do.
You're making me feel like I'm in church. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, man. I mean, but the story I'm telling is a real story. It's part of my history, and it's part of American history that has not been told.
That's right.
Many of us didn't even know about Black Wall Street until about 6 years ago, even though it was in existence back when the Gap Band was writing the music. You dropped the bomb on me.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, when you start thinking about all of the black history and all of the culture that black people have brought to America and the things that we've been able to accomplish in spite of the opposition that we've been in front of us, it is amazing that we still stand and we stand strong and we stand tall, and yet we still fight for those of the least. I don't care if you black, I don't care if you white, I don't care if you're Hispanic. At the end of the day, you are part of something that everybody's fighting for, which is called the American dream. Even though the dream is difficult to achieve,
Right.
but you're still fighting to achieve it for your own individual family, and you don't have no problem helping somebody else's family.
Y'all see why I love that. Y'all got to forgive me. Let me digress for 1 minute. So 2008, Barack Obama's running for president. We bring him to Dallas. We got this massive rally at Reunion Arena. And Emmitt says, man, I want to be there. I want to help. I said, great. Emmitt, I want you to introduce the president. Emmitt said, I don't know what I'm going to say. I was like, I can't say that. I'm like, please. I'm like, you the best running back you got to. Now, Emmitt would, I don't know what to say. I almost had to pull him off the stage. That people went wild, but I love this brother because he speaks so plain. But I need to do one thing, and forgive me, because I'm overtly political. First of all, don't buy into any of this stuff about what black men are going to do.
Right.
Because my short answer, I get asked this everywhere I go. I ask my audience 3 things. What was your reaction when Donald Trump told you you could put Clorox to get rid of COVID? And what y'all do? You laughed.
Right.
And when Donald Trump told you Haitians, you laughed. And I made the audience go through all these things Trump said. I said, 90% of what Donald Trump says, y'all go, he's lying. Now, what makes y'all think he's an expert on what black people gonna do?
Right.
This is part of the narrative. They want you looking over here. The one good thing, we always overperform. Black folk been saving America for the last 20 years.
And we'll do it again.
Joe Biden got elected because Jim Clyburn said South Carolina, save us, all those black men. So don't let them put us in the box of thinking this is going us. We're going to show up and we're going to turn out, but we still need to do other things. And when Casey was talking about criminal justice, and I had a conversation with some young brothers the other day, and they said, well, but she was a DA. Her job was to lock us up. I said, that's the job of a DA. But you need to also understand, because she was a black DA, Kamala Harris was the one that created the diversion program.
That's right.
We had a black district attorney named Craig Watson,
Yep.
Right.
who made sure more black people got diverted from going to jail to getting help, and doing that because he did it based on what Kamala Harris did.
That's true.
We have one of the best district attorneys in the country right now in John Creuzot. So there's nothing wrong with being a black district attorney if you bring a lens toward justice and how we ought to be treated. And again, Donald Trump said 2 weeks ago in a public rally, I wish we could just say, first he said an hour. I wish we had a day we could suspend the Constitution and let the police go and just beat the hell out of people. Who you think he's talking about beating?
Yes.
It ain't those MAGA folks, it's us. So look, you gotta, if you're raising, especially if you're raising a young black male, you gotta go to the polls.
You know, Ron, that's the scary part about where we are in today's society for me. I mean, growing up, there used to be street fights and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And now, and didn't really worry too much about the cops at some point in my neighborhood, unless you were doing something bad. I mean, you really had to cross the line in order to worry about the cops back in Pensacola. But, man, I got 2 kids. My son EJ is 22, and my youngest son Elijah is 14. And I'm fearful every time EJ takes the road from Texas A&M back to Dallas. I'm fearful because I've been pulled over with my kids in the car.
Right.
And I've had the privilege and been fortunate and blessed by some cop that just say, oh, I recognize who you are.
Right. We'll let you go.
But slow it down, Mr. Smith. Okay, sir, I got you. But at the end of the day, when you think about somebody that don't know you and don't care about you, I've been pulled over driving while black. I mean, most people don't even think that exists, but it does exist. And it was frightening because I was surrounded by like 6 cop cars, and I didn't do nothing. And I say nothing, I mean, I'm driving my mother's car. So it's a real thing. And so when I see Eric Gardner getting choked to death, and I see George Floyd and all those kind of things, I just say to myself, oh my gosh. I mean, what did a person do to deserve all that?
Right.
And it's not that I'm against cops, because I know we got to have them. I appreciate them, just like I appreciate the fire department, just like I appreciate the EMTs. I appreciate all these things, because these are things that are definitely needed in society. But at the end of the day, like anything that we do on the football field, we evaluate our performances so we can become better and hopefully get ourselves to a Super Bowl. Everyone in the world needs to evaluate who they are so they can become better and better, so they can help society become better, instead of allowing some of these things to just fall waysides as if they don't even exist. That's the part that bugs me the most.
Emmitt, you know, and I love your politics now. And
My politics, I mean, that's
right.
realness, bro.
The realness. What I'm saying, when you started fighting DEI, how much pushback did you get? How many people, you know, because everybody loves the Cowboys. A lot of MAGA love the Cowboys.
Yeah.
A lot of MAGA love the Florida Gators.
Yeah.
How much pushback did you get?
Clarence, here's the thing. There's going to be a group of Americans that no matter what you do, no matter what you say, especially when it comes down to black and white issues or D&I issues or men and women issues, et cetera, or minority issues.
Right.
They're going to be on one side of the ledger regardless. And those are some of the MAGA people that you just can't change no matter who you are,
right.
No matter what you do. So I recognize that. But it's not, my message wasn't for them.
Right.
My message was for people who had a heart for an institutionalizing system that paralyzes the ability for minority people to grow their businesses. Right. And that is big business all day long, because what people don't realize that there are so many big businesses that own so many small businesses.
Right.
You think that it's a small business, but it's truly wrapped up in a big business.
Right.
And when you have mega companies that have mega dollars that can control the purse string from the bottom to the top, you have to get in where you fit in and try to break through that cluster and hopefully be aligned with somebody that believes in you and give you the opportunity to do the things that you're trying to do.
Right.
And I never saw this more real than in the construction business. And so the margins are already small there anyway, but people give you contracts, and if you're not reading through the contracts like you should, we can find ourselves in a very dire straight situation.
Absolutely.
And so when I saw all that going down, I'm like, man, these folks don't believe in no D&I. I mean, they don't even really want you to succeed. We got 5% of 100%, and yet they're trying to run me out of business for my 5.
That's it.
I'm like, you got the whole 95, and you trying to get me out of business for 5%?
Absolutely.
Bro, and that's greed.
Yep.
That's selfishness. And that's not being a true American the way I see it, because the pie can be shared.
Sure can.
There's so many governmental dollars being thrown around. Elon Musk got a lot of American governmental dollars to do what he's done with Tesla and to do what he's done with his NASA program and everything else that has allowed him to become the richest man in the world. But yet, he ain't on our side.
Right. And you don't have to take it to Elon Musk. I mean, to sit there and listen to Brett Favre's trifling ass. I mean, excuse me.
You said it. You bring it back to
No,
the
he
court.
did. But I mean, I'm just saying. They took money intended for the poorest people in Mississippi.
did.
You talking about where black folk got it bad.
Got it real bad.
And they take that and they did that. But I want to come back to the other deal, because it is about the election. And the one thing and I know I'm a Democrat, but watching the Democratic convention and Kamala Harris through Tim Walz just reclaiming the joy of being American and reminding us it doesn't have to be that way. No. And just think back, this summer, all them MAGA people was cheering the Olympics.
Right.
Now, they had a hard time dealing with the fact, Clarence, that all those gymnasts looked like your baby.
Right.
You know, the
Right.
whole U.S. gymnastic team. Now we even in the swimming pool.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we everywhere.
Yeah.
But if we can celebrate it in the Olympics, if they can cheer, and again, I'm going to keep coming back, Emmitt, for speaking up. If Emmitt's good enough for them to cheer in the Cowboys,
Right.
he's good enough for them to cheer in business. And he's good enough for them to cheer and to teach
In the
our
White
kids
House.
the education
Right.
and everywhere else. So this election is winnable. The one point I want to make, and this is not a deal that we got to move millions of people. All we have to do is just do what we do.
Just get out of
Because
the
if your vote wasn't that important, they wouldn't be sending out all these mixed messages, doing everything to intimidate you from not voting. And I'm just telling you, you have power. All you have to do is use it. It doesn't take that much time. You can early vote tomorrow. still before you leave, and then you can make sure you go vote on Election Day.
I'm going to come behind the mayor with something. Many people don't think about the fact that coming out of the pandemic, there was a presidential election. We were in the midst of the pandemic and presidential election. But there were two particular issues that black folk really, really were hopeful that they would pass when you had President Biden and VP Harris. One was the George Floyd Policing Act. That was the bill that was going to reform the criminal justice system. The other was the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, which would create more opportunities as it relates to making it easier for people to register to vote and people to vote. Well, what happened is once President Biden got elected, VP Harris got in office, a lot of people blamed them for those bills not passing. You know, I don't know how many of you remember Schoolhouse Rock and all the shows like that where they talked about, I'm just a bill.
I'm just a bill.
Exactly.
And you know I'm a bill.
We need to bring Schoolhouse Rock back because our kids and young adult millennials, they don't know nothing about how the different levels of government work. It was two U.S. Democratic senators that stood in the way of overcoming the filibuster, which would have got both of those bills passed. Now, both of them left the Democratic Party, and now they're independents. So why am I saying this? Because we have to have a better understanding as a race of people of how government works. And if once we understand that we can't just send Kamala Harris to the White House. We've got to send them with some help, like Colin Allred, who is running for U.S. Senate. Right. If we get more people like that in the Senate, we know the House is about to turn. We're about to have the first black Speaker of the House right here in the United States. So Hakeem Jeffries was Kappa Band. Yeah. But we got to make sure that we send them with help. And then once they get there, we don't just expect them to do the work. We get behind them and we support them and make sure they have the help they need. Then we can get the type of legislation passed that's going to keep us inspired and motivated about what the future would look like for our children and grandchildren.
Well said. Well said. That's what we need to start right now by turning Texas blue, you know. But what we got in the State House,
oh Lord,
Hot Wheels. Oh, y'all can't say Hot Wheels?
Oh,
I'm sorry. Y'all can't say Hot Wheels?
oh, I just called all those things talking about. Come on, man.
Don't we have an attorney general who's indicted? We got an
attorney general who's indicted.
We got a criminal attorney general.
Lord help us.
But Casey said one other thing. I know a lot. I started out telling me what happened 70 years ago. All of you all know COVID was devastating for black and brown people.
Yep.
And for Donald Trump to deny it, slow walk it, not care about our communities, ought to give you all the evidence, you know, of what he thinks of us. And they were like, shit, let them die.
Right.
You know, we need some of these people to be called out. Mm-hmm. Those are our families, and it does make a difference who sits in that White House. And with the attack, as Emmitt said, and I've stopped using the words DEI. Tracy Abrams reminded us, the goal of equality and equal opportunity is written in the fabric of this country, as imperfect as it is. It's in our Constitution. It's in the Bill of Rights.
Right.
It's in the so we don't need to apologize for that because we can do our thing. I'm not worried about us. We can do it. But it does make a difference. And I know a lot of young folk would say, well, if I vote, it doesn't matter. It really does.
It does.
Whether or not we have access to quality education, whether you have access to jobs, whether you have the ability to go start a business and get funding for a business.
Make up of the Supreme
It makes
Court.
a difference. And we hadn't spent a lot of time on it any time. But y'all, this Project 2025 is real.
Right.
So don't act like
Social Security's
you're
on
going to
the
be surprised.
Yeah.
You know, when I grew up, it was mean. It used to hurt my feelings because there was this horrible saying, if you don't want black people to know something, put it in a book.
Right.
And you all can't act like, oh, we didn't know Trump was going to do it. He has told y'all ever since what he did to those poor kids in Harlem during the Central Park matter to what he's done, the way he's treated tenants. And Emmitt talks about business. Donald Trump has put more small businesses
What did he do to the Atlantic City?
bankrupt. What he's done, because he don't pay his bills.
What did he
He
do to
doesn't care
Atlantic
about
City?
anybody.
Right.
So don't act like you don't know. But there's a better way. There's a better choice. That's why we're all here supporting Kamala Harris. And let me tell you, nothing would be more fun than for Chill to have us back out here
That's right.
the week after the election, because can't nobody celebrate the way we gonna celebrate.
Man,
Oh,
what?
man.
When
Party
we elect
time.
the first
Yes.
black woman
Hey.
to be the president of the United
And I'm
States.
glad you said that we got an election because we know ain't nothing going to be decided on November 5th.
That's right.
They going to tie that thing up. We will have no results.
Now I will tell you,
all.
I'm optimistic because I've watched Trump. He's already started lying, crying about cheating because he knows he's getting ready to get his little orange trash truck driving himself.
Hey, we don't have to call the man name. I mean, everybody know who he is,
I know.
and they know what he's all about. I
know.
mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you smart enough to recognize, you know, right from wrong, and I think a lot of people are. But here's the thing that I also want us to understand too: a lot of folks is just voting with their capital. They know that man is not right. They know he's not just, and they voting with capital, and they voting for taxes to be lowered and everything else. But you have to understand. We have to understand, and this is where we fight at. We fight for the taxes to be where they are. Now, I'm hurting myself. I'm part of that 1%. At least I used to be until they start giving out these contracts they're giving the NFL players today. So, I mean, but at the end of the day, that 1% has tax breaks and tax cuts that most of us in here, some of you in here, can't even get access to.
That's right.
So therefore, they gonna be fine. When the milk rises 2 or 3 cents, it ain't gonna affect them. I trust you. They flying around their G550s. They flying around their Citation 10s. They going to this island, that island, this Europe and that place and everything else. They living in high hotels. They eating food and steaks and everything at Emmitt's out in Las Vegas.
Right.
So they dining and still doing what they doing. The ones who are suffering the most.
I heard that. I don't know if y'all heard that.
Yeah, you heard it.
Go to Emmitt's in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
He opened
yeah.
a nice steakhouse in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
I've been there. It's great.
Please come. But I say this because they're doing that.
Yep.
They're doing that, and they're gonna be fine. Right. But the ones who are suffering the most are the ones who have the least.
Right.
And so when the 2 cent rise up on a gallon of milk or something rise in gas and so forth, you and many of us in here and where we come from are the ones who suffer the most.
That's right.
So when you start thinking about what he's talking about, they talking about lowering. She gonna lower taxes. You want her to raise taxes. You want her to raise those taxes so people can pay their fair share. Trust me. I understand, because when you're doing business, you see things that you otherwise up there that you don't see down here.
That's right.
And I ain't gonna get into the details of what you see up there, but when you see stuff up there, you be like, oh, so this is what this is all about.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's how they getting over.
well, they ain't getting over. They taking advantage. They taking advantage of a system that has afforded that opportunity.
That's right.
And so if you don't rise to that level, you'll never see it.
Right.
And so you only think that this is what you know, and that's all that you know. Here's the thing about what I'm talking about. Exposure is the word that I'm going to use. When you're not exposed, you're only limited to the knowledge that you know from your four people.
That's right.
That's it. And if they only know thousands, you only manage thousands. Until somebody makes hundreds of thousands, then now they're talking hundreds of thousands. Then until somebody makes $500,000, now you're talking about $500,000. Until somebody learn how to make millions, now they're learning how to make millions. And then you learning all these other things that you didn't know before. I had to learn that the hard way. I had to learn it coming out. I mean, my parents never, ever made over $100,000 combined.
We pay more in taxes than our parents.
Yes, we do. He's absolutely
We're
correct.
glad to do it.
And
Blessed
glad
to
to
be
do
able
it.
to do it.
You know, people talking about taxes. I'm like, that's a small price to pay to live here in the continental United States, which we call the greatest country in the entire world.
That's right.
I mean, I didn't have no problem writing the government a $4 million check because I made 20.
There you go.
Okay, fine, take it. Leave me alone. Let me get on and do it. But you get the gist of what I'm saying in terms of what you're looking at and what you're hearing, because those are the things that you're gonna be out there voting for. Is stuff for you and I. Because at the end of the day, if you survive, I'm still gonna benefit.
That's right.
Because I'm gonna make money no matter what.
Right.
Because when the market is down, guess what? They still making money. When
Right.
the market is up, they still making money. And guess who's sitting there? Because you don't have money in the market.
Yeah, you do.
They don't. A lot of people don't have money in the market, Ron.
Well, but I'm saying
a lot of that 98%.
We don't know it because our parents work for the government.
That's right.
And you don't realize your teacher's pension,
Yep.
your public employees' pension, then they turn around and give it to these same fools that out here saying anti-DEI.
Yeah.
Bill Ackman, biggest hedge fund, is getting money from CalPERS, Texas retirement.
Taking your money.
So, yeah, our money is there, but follow the money.
Right.
Vote
Follow
your
the money.
interest.
Vote your interest.
But at the end of the day, I'm going to keep coming back to the fact. Ain't that hard. You want things to be different? You want us to keep going forward? Just go vote.
Yep.
Please vote.
And vote for somebody at least that thinks about you more than they think about themselves.
Right. I appreciate you guys. Again, can we give a round of applause for this esteemed panel here?
Thank y'all for being out.
Before we let them go, because this is Halloween, and Emmitt got to go trick-or-treating with his son.
I got to go pick him up. He already trick-or-treating.
He already trick-or-treating. Got to pick him up. Emmitt.
Yeah.
Russian champ. All-time leading rusher. I got to ask you a question. The Cowboys got the worst rushing game in the NFL. How crazy is that?
Woo. Lord have mercy. Here's the thing. You can be committed to running the rock and not have the personnel to help you get it done. And I think that there's a desire, but I don't think we have the proper personnel. From my experience, and I don't want to talk negative about not one player, but I'm going to just say this. My last year with the Dallas Cowboys was completely different than my very first year with the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
Or my first 2 years. And the Cowboys was coming off 89, which was 1-15. So one would think we did not have talent in 89. Then that same talent, some of it was weeded out, but most of that talent came in 90.
Mature.
And we were starting to mature. And then in 91, we were there. We were there because we went 11-5.
Right.
And so, and everybody was working together towards the crescendo and building up. And then this thing called free agency come around after we won our very first Super Bowl.
Right.
It came around after the second one. Things started to change. The dynamics of managing the salary cap, kind of like managing the budget of the United States of America and managing the budget of your household. Today, I think our salary cap is out of whack because it doesn't afford us the opportunity to go get quality players. Instead, when I mean by quality players, I mean, yes, sir.
I love you. I've been a Cowboys fan longer than you've been here. Who picked all them players when you won that team? Who was that?
Well,
Jimmy Johnson.
Well,
We
you
got
said
rid of Jimmy Johnson.
you said it.
It is a sad thing that one of the high points of my time as mayor is I hosted the very last Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl parade in 1996.
You went out on top. You went out on top.
And all I'm saying, everything you said is right, but if it's talent, then it goes back to who's picking the talent. And don't talk to me about the salary cap when you fly into practice on your helicopter.
Oh, my God.
When you go hang out on your yacht to avoid COVID, when you sit there and see 95,000 people in the stadium, read Forbes, I'm the most valuable franchise in the world.
Ron.
Look, I can say it. You can't.
It's okay. It's okay.
Jerry doesn't want to put money in the team.
And I'm gonna say
He's
this.
the smartest businessman in
Yes,
the league.
no doubt.
And the worst general manager.
No. He's
And
putting
he
money
set
in the
up-
team.
No, he
money in
ain't.
the team.
No.
He's just
Not
putting
where-
he's
he
just putting a
putting
lot of
it-
money into certain players.
Emmitt.
And it's jacking up the salary cap so he can't maneuver to get quality players in there to help support the money that he's invested in his big-time players.
Yeah, but Emmitt, if y'all hadn't had Michael Irvin, if it wasn't nobody on the team but you and Troy, and all the defense know we had to do, you throwing to me and
Yeah, but they had an
Chase
offensive
Wright.
line, though.
No, but I'm saying if they didn't
I had
have
quality players.
that,
Yes.
you had everybody. You had a defense.
Exactly, because all of it fit within the confinement of the salary cap. And so what I'm
Jerry.
saying, when the cap started getting a little whack, and And players like Troy started to retire. Players like Michael was retiring. Players like Eric Williams was gone. Nate was gone.
Quit covering for him. This
No,
is a Jared-created problem.
no. I'm just saying the quality of players went down.
Right.
And therefore, we start going like 5-11 and 6-10.
Let me ask you this.
That was
stuff like
that's
that.
them Campo years.
Did New
I
England
ain't
win
going on
7
that.
Super Bowls after the salary cap and free agency?
No, they managed it correctly.
They managed it.
They managed it
What's the
correctly.
word?
And did the
Manage
Kansas City
it.
Chiefs just win
Manage
too?
it.
They managing it correctly.
Management.
And what I'm saying, they
Management
got
manages.
also quality players around guys.
But
too.
who picks those players? Not the coach. The general
I
manager.
never said who.
We've had the same.
Can y'all let Emmitt get his point out?
This is what he missed the most. He missed debating the most. But at the end of the day, he's right. I know I'm right because right now, like I said, you got CeeDee Lamb, you got Dak Prescott, you got some of those great cornerbacks that we actually have. Michael Parsons still has to get a new contract. And at the end of the day, there's a such thing as C and B players. And there's a such thing as C and D players. And what I'm trying to tell you, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, those are your A players. They really are. And Michael Parsons is an A player. So is Trayvon Diggs. So is Bland. I mean, that defense and DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, these are quality football players. You just don't have enough of them. You don't have somebody in the middle big enough to stop the run, and you don't have a bad enough linebacker to fill the gaps.
Right.
So at the end of the day, if you got one that's a mature guy. But even my own at the age of 35, I couldn't do the things that I could do at 25.
Right.
But he's giving you the best he got right now, and sometimes that best just ain't good enough to compete against some of this younger talent because you're older and sometimes guys just not as good.
Right.
And so when Jerry said we got talent, he was lying.
No, we know.
He was lying. and
so we're looking at this.
And so when he came back, he said we're not as talented. Then he contradicted himself.
Well,
a couple weeks ago,
that.
he said we got talent. We got enough talent to win. Then just about a week and a half ago, he said, well, we're not as talented as I thought. Well, you knew that from the beginning.
So instead of firing the head coach, why don't he fire the general manager?
Well, that's not happening.
Well, when you
And we're not
have you
gonna
ever
win.
have you ever heard of a millionaire telling a billionaire what to do? That's kind of what we're trying to tell society right now. Society out there and these businesses and everything else, they doing what they want to do because they putting money in their packs, they voting their dollars, their pocketbooks, and everything else. But the reality is, that's why I say if you look at the heart of people, they're gonna tell you who they are. They're going to tell you they are.
And
Because
look, I got to say it. I hadn't had this audience, but I get it. But we were reading today. Every NFL owner but one is giving all their money to Donald Trump. And I know Jerry says
Okay, you know who gave the most money, though? You know who gave the most money of any owner? The Mavericks owner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he's
100
giving his,
billion.
I said NFL.
I know, I'm just saying.
No, not the man. Mark Cuban's giving his
No.
money to Kamala
No,
Harris.
the new owner.
No, the new owner.
Oh, yeah, that's his mother-in-law.
Sands,
Yeah, Samuel.
Adelson.
But my point
Ellison,
is,
that's it.
look, but your vote counts more. She can give $100 billion, but she got one vote. You all can give $10, but if you all vote and do what Clarence and Emmitt said, go get your family to vote, we totally neutralize them. We've never had more money. We've never had more power. All we had was that collective vision, that collective spirit, that we were determined, as Emmitt said, take this country as imperfect as it is, make it live up to its ideals. That's all we got to do.
hey, man, if you look at the United States as a team and versus adversaries, blacks, whites, Republicans, Democrats, look at us collectively and those who have the right heart and the right spirit for the United States. They ain't just talking about somebody want to march for white supremacy and all that kind of stuff, because that should never, ever exist. That should be gone by now. We've seen what that looks like. We know what that caused. We know all these things. We just got to come together and be willing to face the music of our past and and really move forward to trying to educate folks around this is where we come from, this is how we got to this place, this is where we want to go. And can we get people on the same page that this is where we want to go, and we'll get there. If we don't, we're going to continue to have this separation between church and state and everything else. Even the evangelicals, they are quiet. They're not. They voting. They voting for this guy, and I'm looking at the spirit of a person. And I'm saying, oh, really?
Right.
This is what happened to Christianity? What happened to this
Right.
and everything else? Y'all okay with this man grabbing people by the crotches and everything? Y'all okay with this man doing what he's doing? And I'm like, come on now. Where's the moral compass? Where's the moral compass of society? And I think it's out the door. And
they look like hypocrites.
They are hypocrites. They
go.
don't look like it. They are, because, I mean, when you know somebody's bad, as I got in trouble at the University of Florida one year. And it wasn't because I did something. What I did not do was convince the guys not to do what they did. That was my fault. I did not take the leadership role. And I learned a very valuable lesson in that. You know, guilty by association.
That's right.
And if they're going to vote for that man because of who he is and what he's already displayed, even those 30-some counts, they're guilty by association.
They're accomplices to whatever
Yes,
crime
sir. Yes,
he
sir.
commits.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No doubt. And they're going to have to deal with God on that one.
You know, Chill, let me say this. Ron brought up Project 2025. How many of y'all heard familiar with Project 2025? Not enough people. Let me tell you. If they are willing to put together a 925-page document and make it public, can you imagine what private plans they have? Can you imagine what they have in mind? And all of these things are based around executive orders, which means it don't matter who's running the House, who's running the Senate. These are executive orders that the president can put in place, can remove career professionals and replace them with political appointees who are going to follow what Donald Trump say. And this man got the nerve to say, I don't know nothing about no Project 2025. Sometime I wonder, I'm saying, have I ever heard him say the truth? Because he lies so much.
Yeah.
Once a person show you who they are, what you supposed to do?
Believe them.
Believe.
Listen, we're going to believe in the truth, and we're going to believe that justice is going to happen. All I know is this, for you sports believers and you sports common believers. The last time the Dodgers won the World Series, the next Tuesday, Trump lost the election.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Let's go Dodgers.
2020. The last time the Dodgers won the World Series, Trump lost the election. You know what happened last night?
That's deep. That's deep.
The Dodgers won the World Series. So hopefully next Tuesday, the truth's going to come home. Again, we appreciate these guys coming out.
Chill.
Thank you, Emmitt.
Thank you.
The Honorable Mayor Emeritus, Councilman Thomas. Thank you guys for coming out.
Appreciate
Cowboys and Chill. Appreciate
We got
you,
to
man.
give a shout out to my man JJT.
JJT's coming in. We're going to have a little Cowboys talk.
Raider
Sexy.
Nation.
Yeah. Man, appreciate you guys.
Hey, look at you.
Raider Nation. It's you, man.
Greens and pinks, it's all the same. I still say roll my change. Take some losses when I play, charge it to the game. I'm with L, yeah, I'm with T Black, I'm with Reverend now. I'm with Bay, yeah, I'm with Jay, yeah, I'm with Chuck and now. Still the same, not switching sides, now it's about loyalty. You switch sides off for the bag, and that's worth more to me. I mix Nike with designer, I experiment. You just rock what's on the shelf and I'm not feeling it. Search for the one, but baby girl, it's nothing real as this. Can't trust a soul, I keep her here, but call it too legit. I've been really in the field, let her rush, I let her feel. Lately I just wanna run it up. Don't need no deals, I make the deal. Have to take you to a meal. Lately I just wanna run it up. Yeah. Kinda check the song. Lately I just wanna run it up. Count that to count, yeah, count up. Lately I must be off the dome. I never own no chrome. Too many foes and clothes. Yeah, I be at home alone. I be in zones alone. I be on road alone. Yeah, I be really in the field. Let her rush, I let her feel it. I just wanna run it up. Don't need no deals, I make the deal. I have to take it to a meal. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Yeah, time to check the song. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Count that too, count it. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Lately, I just wanna run it up.
Let me crack your cranium and fertilize your brain.
Take a drag of my cigarette. paper crane can fly, then forever doesn't feel that far. So far, so far. If a paper crane can fly, then forever doesn't feel that far. So far, so far. If a paper crane can fly, fly on, fly on, fly on, fly on, fly on.
Four. I got 3. Come on with it. Who got 4? All right. Mic check. I got 3. I got 3 on it. Okay, appreciate everybody for jumping in and tuning in. The name is Law Nation. Come on with it. Can you hear me? All right, can you hear me? Come on with it. Come on with it.
Yeah, okay, now I got some volume.
Yeah, you got volume now. Volume. I guess he got 4. All right, we're going to get this show on the road. We had a great time today. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and being in part of these type of conversations that rule the nation. Yeah. It's going to be, what'd you say? Oh, yeah, well, we're gonna turn it all the way up then, huh? Yes, indeed. We're going to do about 15 more minutes of this great conversation. No doubt. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
What you say?
1 2 1 2.
Yeah. It's good.
Okay,
we
it's
good.
good.
Yeah. We good. We
All right,
already
I
lit.
want you. This is again. We reset. Okay? We
reset.
talk politics. We talk the election. Now we're gonna talk Cowboys. People still partying. Don't worry about the DJ in the back. We're gonna talk a little Cowboys here. We're gonna hit it and quit it real quick.
Yeah.
But first, who we sponsored by?
Frenkel and Frenkel Law Firm. If you ever in a jam, if you slip and fall at work, or you get into a fender bender, be sure to call Frenkel first, and that's 817 or 214-33, and all of the 3s you can dial. Call Frenkel before you call 911. How about that? That will help you out. Come on with it.
It's Clarence Hill. We got Law Nation, producer extraordinary, who making all this thing happen.
Yeah.
He doing all the magic in the background. Of course, down on my left, we got the black freshman, John Jock Taylor.
Come on with
the
it.
Ohio State University. And
OH.
And
OH.
of course,
Go Bucks.
my man, the ambassador,
Yes, sir.
Stacey Elliott, ambassador of Elliott. The man, you done gone viral the last month.
It's
Come
your
on
fault.
with it.
It's your fault. Hey, I can't blame John. It's your fault.
I like, man, it ain't proper like,
It's the rubber band man. Yo, come on with it. Don't you?
Bring them 10 bands.
I got
10
the man's with me, John.
Bring them 10 bands.
Believe that.
He done gone viral. He done gone viral.
And I didn't order them from Amazon.
Come on with it.
All right?
All right.
Ain't no cap in here.
Oh my God, this is funny stuff. But it's must win. I think it's a must win game this week. Coach Jock don't think it's a must win game. We've been arguing all day.
Whoa.
We've been arguing on
I didn't know his take on that.
2 different podcasts. He think the season over. So
It's over.
Hey, 2 different podcasts. We've been arguing all day. Law, what you think? Must win Atlanta. If they have any hopes of salvaging their season.
Well, the only hope would be is that we got Bland hopefully to come back, and it may not be a situation because now you got Trayvon Diggs with Calvin. He didn't practice. So, hey, God, I can't stand you right now. Because before the season started, he was like, this is
he'll
Dave
be out
Campo.
a couple weeks. He'll be back.
He said this is the Dave Campo era. He said it's going to be a 5-11, 5-12 type of year.
Why you mad at me?
Because you spoke the truth.
Well,
I can't stand the truth.
Hold on, Law.
Truth, the hardest pill to swallow.
This is the Clarence Hill.
I just try to keep
The insider.
Come on, man. The insider.
I
That's what it
I
is.
try to keep it real and honest. I've seen it all.
Okay.
You don't invest in the team and things that
Right.
they've done and how they've handled things. They projected things positively, like the offensive line. You know, the offensive line, you can't blame the backs, you can't blame the quarterback when they can't get nothing done up front, and it's because they tried to convince themselves.
They lied to themselves.
Well, lied to themselves, convinced themselves the offensive line would be better with 2 rookies and a declining Zach Martin and I don't know what's that right tackle right now.
Oh, okay. Well,
They got a nice pedicure.
Hey, but can I say something about the offensive line, though?
Yeah, go ahead.
to him.
Honestly,
Talk to me.
you know I'm an actual fat guy.
Right. You play linebacker though.
I did play linebacker.
Okay.
And there's some basic things that a linebacker has to cover.
Correct.
An inside linebacker, an outside linebacker in this modern era, an edge rusher.
Correct.
Okay. You can't run a 32 ISO or inside run and the inside linebackers never picked up.
Okay.
You can't blame inferior talent to poor blocking scheme.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can't blame rookie tackles or offensive linemen for coaches who just woke up one day, never played
Right.
football their whole life,
It's facts.
and now they want to coach in the NFL. And they're not coaching. So, hey, I could have made some of those plays last week playing inside linebacker.
Well, yeah, 'cause
Now, Clarence, I may not be able to get back up.
That's two totally
Easy
different
to hold
things.
the story, John.
That's two totally-
But we
Well, I
get
mean,
up.
well, the problem here is that, and when you're talking about 3rd and 5, they let the best linebacker in football go unblocked.
Right.
Right.
Okay, because we were like, why you running the run play on 3rd and 5? Well, it might have worked if you ought to block the guy, but that's the problem.
Yeah.
You spent the bye week saying we're going back to the basics. You spent the bye week talking about communication.
Yeah.
The first 5 plays of the game, you got communication breakdown.
Correct.
So what was you doing during the bye week? Today we're talking this week, and they got problems. They had a bad walkthrough. How you have a bad walkthrough?
Come on with
you go
it.
from the classroom to the
the
field.
field.
Wow.
From the classroom, so you can't even take what you learned in the classroom, not to a full speed practice,
To a walkthrough.
to a walkthrough.
But what did the quarterback say about that today?
What did he say?
He said not enough. He didn't name names, but he said not enough. Actually, he said you have to take this stuff home and study it. You have to do more than what you get in school. What that sound like? When your mama and your teacher used to tell you, you got to do your homework. You got to spend some time on your lesson. If you're not getting that algebra, you got to spend extra time. These cats are at the facility. They do what they do. They go home. They're not putting in time, and they're showing up on the field.
Who's driving this bus? Who's steering the ship?
How about your individual accountability because you're getting paid to do a job?
Hold on, but
Okay.
you always got to be coached.
Okay.
The greatest players, Tom Brady,
All right.
the GOAT,
Ego.
before he retired, not only was he like a coach, but he was coached.
Okay.
Okay, so the reality is
The bus driver ain't gonna be here
the
next year.
NFL, the NFL to me is starting to look like the WWE.
Wow.
Whoa.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute
all right.
now.
Well, we'll break
Hold on,
that
hold on.
down. Break that
Well,
down.
if I'm injured
Okay.
or sick, why would I go out in front of 10,000 people, 20,000 people, 80,000 people before the game I'm not playing in, signing autographs?
Oh.
I mean, that's football.
Clarence, can you talk
I don't
upon that?
understand
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, 2 things. I think Rico was sick. Obviously, the guidance. His temperature had come down by then.
I'm not saying he wasn't sick. Let me be clear on that.
Okay.
Yeah, he was sick. The temperature had come down by then. But just from an optic standpoint, if you're sick, number one, and you got the chills, stay away from the team.
Yeah.
You could be contagious. Stay away from the fans. Go isolate yourself until you get better. None of that how they handled it,
Yeah.
how it came about, because he came off the bus rapping and dancing like he was
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
And we talked to him. He said he was sick on Saturday. And he wanted to play.
What was it? Pride sick or was it actual
Hold
sick?
on,
No, he
hold
wasn't
on,
pride.
Law.
No pride.
Law,
No
pride
Law,
sick?
when
Okay,
did we,
good.
When did we stop playing when we were sick?
No. No. With
Jordan-
all due respect, he had 102 feet.
Listen, man, I played.
on this different day. The doctors would not
Okay.
let him play.
Yeah.
All right.
But the
Doctor-
game's still the same.
The game is still the same. It's a
Game
different
is still
day.
the same,
They,
different
well,
day.
it's not the same. No, it ain't. 'Cause
That
they don't
was
let
the
you.
point.
They don't let you tackle the quarterback. They don't let you. There's a whole lot. There's a whole lot of change in the game.
submit. You're right.
Okay, you can't bump. You can't grab.
You're right about
The game
You
is
can't hit him
changing.
with the forearm.
You
can't bring the bike no more.
Can't slap
All
the
I
helmet.
know is
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott would have played.
Yes, but again, with that fever, the doctors did that. Okay, they said because of the
I
precautions,
understand.
because of the health
Man,
issues, you
'cause
got
he-
the chills, and you got 102.
That's
when it
why
spiked
back
over.
in the day those guys would hide it.
Yes.
The Jordan
want the
flu.
doctor
The
to see.
Jordan flu game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, they would
Yeah.
definitely hide it for sure. But so there was nothing he could do.
that's
At that
understandable.
point.
Bump all of that. I just want to know how much control do Dak Prescott got when you 3rd and 5 and they go empty. They go 22 empty. What's going on with Dak Prescott? do he have control of how
mean,
they
what-
do the
what
alignments?
play
and
are you
assignments?
talking about?
I'm talking about when he go into the red zone, money zone, green zone. Like you out
Well,
there.
first
you
of all,
can
Dak
talk to him.
does a lot at the line of scrimmage.
He does a lot?
He does. He does change the plays, does a lot at the line of scrimmage. But you got to understand, you're talking about a young offensive line.
Okay.
And a young receiving core. So you can do all of that.
Right,
but
right,
they already
right.
ain't getting the communication,
How
the stuff
about-
that come out the huddle.
But hold
so
on,
now
okay.
you want them to start moving people around,
Hold on.
and they're not handling it.
But
But
can
he
I
has
say
a lot of
something to
control.
this?
Go ahead.
But let me just say this, the great Clarence Hill.
Clarence in the hot seat all of a
The
sudden.
most trusted
No, he
reporter.
ain't in the hot seat.
Okay, good. The
I ain't
most trusted guy.
I'm not qualified to put him in the hot seat.
Okay,
Let's
good.
be clear on that. However,
Yeah.
how about Dak Prescott don't have a running play to audible too?
Right.
How
Oh.
about he doesn't have the right personnel out there to audible into a running play?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's things like that, you know.
Yeah, so I mean, they got bigger fish to fry than worried about whether he can change the play in the red zone. They can't stop the run.
Okay.
The defensive line don't play well. You don't have your best players on defense. The offensive line is not giving you no chance. The play calling. I mean, you go to and listen. I kick that butt all you want about that interception in the third quarter. But what kind of play call was that?
Oh, it was terrible play calling, by the way. Both of the plays were terrible play calling.
I mean,
but
what
they
kind
were
of
INTs.
Well, what kind of play call was that on that play to the sideline where the field is squeezed? You only got one option to throw to. You're already not blocking nobody. I mean, he tried to make a play. He should have threw the ball away.
He should have threw the ball away.
But again, the play call was horrible. The play choice was horrible. And Mike McCarthy would say that.
Yeah. They don't make plays easy.
He should
for
say it.
the
He
quarterback.
calling plays.
Yeah, but and that's the problem is that, Dan Orlovsky said that they do more things to make it difficult for a quarterback to play.
They really do.
And than any team in the NFL. And the funny thing, he came up today and said that, this system is about the quarterback. The system is about making things. Well, we can't tell. We can't tell. But how you run
the
this
thing
team.
is, the system is about the quarterback. I wouldn't argue with him that. The problem is you're playing your great quarterback out of his own skill set.
Right.
You're
He is,
expecting him to throw 60, 70 times and make all these plays when this great quarterback we have in Dak Prescott needs a run game.
Right.
Our defense need a run game.
Right.
Yeah.
You can have all pro at every position on defense, but if you leave them out there all day, they're going to get wore out. I mean, the other guys are pros too.
Yeah. No, and Dak is at his best when he got a running game, play action pass. That's what he does best.
No,
and you don't have that.
Nope.
You know, that's the main issue. As I said before, we could talk about what they didn't add in the offseason. One thing they thought they did add was a defensive coordinator.
They did.
And they thought that Zimmer was going to come in and bring not only a great scheme, but also bring some discipline and bring, that I'm a tough cuss and you ain't going to make mistakes. But Zimmer's not brought any of that.
But normally when you look at the historical data on Zim's defense, it normally takes a year.
I understand that. They knew that. They knew that. But I'm just
But
talking
they
about
didn't have a year.
He don't have a year because he's on a 1 year deal. But my point is he has no bite. And I love Zimmer. I remember Zimmer when he got it. When I first started, he was on his team. Zimmer would cuss you out. He barely talks above a whisper.
Wow.
He's an older man. He don't have the bass in his voice no more.
Right.
To get after you. Don't have the bass in the voice to get after you no more.
I just think we got to change our philosophy.
Well, it's mid-season
offense,
now. It's mid-season now.
But we're going to have to make some adjustments.
Yeah.
The new coach will make some adjustments. Because this one, think about it. Mike McCarthy's been running this thing for 30 years. That's what he talked about today. And so sometimes in your 30-year system, if you don't get with the times, it is moved past you by. Right,
That's real because the time right now, like I said, you got people who never played before. Now they're coaches in the NFL.
Right.
And they don't watch film. They look at numbers.
Yeah.
A player go to the coach and say, well, coach, how do I get better? Well, here's the analytics.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
But to say
That's what's happening.
that we're going up against the third-ranked offense in the National Football League, the Atlanta Falcons, and they got they off the tree of Sean McVay and Scott Was it Sean McVay and
Sean McVay.
Yeah, it's Kyle Shanahan.
Shanahan.
Yeah,
Shanahan.
Yeah, he's a Shanahan type of dude.
It's Shanahan tree. Sean McVay came from Shanahan.
Yeah. So basically, we're gonna see some more of those jet motions, those stretch zone runs. You're gonna see your boy Bijan Robinson. How we gonna stop him, bro? What we gonna do to slow that thing
After
down?
you score, you're going to get the ball back.
Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers.
Nah,
What's your thoughts on Donald Wilson out there versus putting someone else against that Kyle Pitts?
The bottom line is this: it's a copycat league,
Right.
And teams they saw the safeties have struggled with the tight end last week.
Right.
Well, you know they gonna do some of that crossing pattern of Kyle Pitts to do the same thing that what happened last week.
Right, with Kittles.
With Kittle. So they're gonna try to copy it. Can the Cowboys stop it? The only way you're gonna stop it is if you change personnel, or try to stop it. You're gonna have to put somebody because Donovan can't cover. Donovan never could cover.
Yeah, he's a box safety down inside.
He'll blow you up.
He can never good. That was never his game. And then to put him out there trying to cover a tight end, that's not his game. Now, are you gonna get a young guy the chance? It's about time.
It's about time.
So that's an issue. Offensively, the Falcons do not rush the passer. They got good secondary players, but they
Six sacks.
They got 6 sacks on the season. So
And shout out to Matthew Judon.
You hopefully, well, he ain't got but one. But which we shout not to.
Let's not him be an all-pro because he's going up against Terrence Steele.
You would think he could have an Adrian Claiborne type game. I don't know if you old enough to remember Adrian Claiborne. He had 6 sacks against Chaz Green in one game against the Cowboys.
Almost ruined that career.
Ruined that career, but you have a chance. There should be room to throw and room to maneuver the ball in the passing game because this Falcons defense don't get to the quarterback like that.
Right, but they are the 15th ranked defense in the National Football League. So how do we attack with our poorest ranked offense? How do we do?
Dak has to use his feet more, and that's one thing we talked about. He has not run the ball. He has not.
Here's the question:
he has not activated his feet.
Why do you think he hasn't done that? Now he talked about it today, but why do you think he hasn't done that?
Yeah.
There are a lot of things. They're behind. He's certainly trying to throw the ball down the field. I think that he's trying to be cautious. Certainly, he has not run as much since having that fractured ankle a couple of years ago.
Right.
They don't do the zone read. It's like they used to do early in his career. They don't call the runs.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, Dak has less rushing yards than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Okay.
That should not be the case.
He has less
Joe Flacco.
He has rushing yards than Joe Flacco.
That should really not be the case.
This is a guy whose career in college was about being a dual threat quarterback.
Can I come in on that?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Oh, okay. Break it down, Stacey.
Because my humble opinion,
Okay.
first of all, I believe Dak is a hell of a quarterback.
Yes.
Okay. So, but McCartney ain't used to. His offense don't want a dual threat quarterback.
How about that?
Okay, he want an Aaron Rodgers, a Tom Brady, a drop
Brett
back.
Favre,
Brett
all the
Favre,
guys
and all
he's
that.
had.
So I'm saying, if you want to keep your job
Too late
and
for
you
that.
want to win games, you need to adjust. You need to adjust this week.
Bruh.
Yeah.
But obviously, what I understand is some people are arrogant and stubborn.
Right.
So,
Well, I think it's more, and we've seen this from other players. You've seen it from other coaches. I've had success doing this. I know this works.
Yeah.
And so when you hire these guys, whoever they are, you hire in their whole package.
Correct.
And if you don't want that package no more, you got to go get a new package.
Right.
There'll be a new package next year, but you got to get
well,
a new package.
you have to be careful when you hire.
Now, that's the
this person.
$64,000 question.
Yeah.
It's not getting rid of McCarthy
Right.
is okay. It's who you bring in.
Who you bring in.
Well, they
And this
need
is-
to bring in.
And they got to fit with Jerry Jones.
They need to bring
Yeah.
in who they were going to bring in before McCartney.
Right.
True.
They're not bringing Herb up in there.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Jock said that.
Ain't to bring Herb up in there.
Ain't nobody ever hired Herb.
Herb had his shot.
And ain't nobody ever hired Herb and Art Browse again. Okay.
Wait. You know what? That's a whole nother show. I'm going to chill out.
Ain't nobody hired. Listen. Listen, you trying to get a job on the staff now. He gonna be that director of player personnel. Now you trying to get on the staff. Lynn, your feeling just from being, obviously your son plays. Is it disillusionment? Is there still hope in the season? Where you at?
Man, as Ezekiel's father, watching him play since he was 7, I've always had to trust the process.
Right.
Even though when it looked kind of weird.
Right.
And it's something that you said one time. You said he's always been the man. Actually, he hasn't always been the man.
Okay.
Ezekiel ain't always been the man. Every position Ezekiel ever got, he had to work up to get it. So when he went to Ohio State, Jock, he was 5th string running back as a freshman.
Okay.
Till he blew that dude up on the kickoff return. And
Yeah, but that's as a freshman.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
No, but at Ohio State, you play early.
It was a freshman.
I know.
That's like what you sound like. You sound like Jordan. Man, when I was a freshman, I got cut off the JV.
Yeah.
Come on, man. And that burned me. I've been motivated because I got cut. You was a freshman.
Hey, what do you say? I took it personally.
Right. You was a freshman.
But this is the thing.
You weren't supposed to be on the varsity.
This is the thing, though. Even though he was a freshman, he moved up.
He did.
To 2nd as a freshman.
Right, because he's the man.
Because
he was the man.
Now, when it was time for goal line and stuff, they didn't trust him.
Okay. Now you going to bring that back for. Now you going to bring that goal line back in. Now you going to bring the goal line.
I'm just saying.
They bring that goal line.
However, but I had to trust the process.
Yes.
I had to trust Irvin and what he was doing. So, to answer your question,
every draft, every year they had 5-star running backs.
I trust Jerry Jones. I trust Mr. Carthy, what is one of his? Because one of those McCarthy's I don't care for Colorado.
That's McCartney.
Okay.
That's McCartney.
I'm all over.
You mad about the 5th down?
You did right.
You still talking about the 5th down?
Deion said it. I can't stand Colorado. I'm sorry.
That was the 5th down. That was 100 years ago.
I know.
Was you in school at that time?
Well, I was playing.
What year was that?
1990, brother.
Man, I was in Kansas City. I might have covered that game.
You probably did.
I worked at the Kansas City Star at the time. He was still playing. I was working at the Kansas City Star. Why you going?
Ezekiel Elliott mama in the building. She was there.
Let me talk to you
Go
something.
on, put your hand up.
Well, I used to go down to Columbia, Stevens College.
Hey, cut the tape. Cut the tape.
Well, it was an all-girls school.
Man, they were so rich they were flying their horses in.
Man, they was beautiful.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, my
God.
You hear me?
Like
I fell in love with some little girl from St. Louis with the Stephen.
Back on the question. I trust Jerry Jones. I trust the head coach. I trust every damn body. I trust Dak Prescott.
Right.
My God.
I definitely trust Ezekiel Elliott and the rest of his teammates.
Okay.
So I keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive.
Hope alive. Hold on. Pain is ended. That's what hope means.
Keep hope alive, man. We appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it too.
We've been here a long time today. Good time.
Score predictions.
We'll be back next week. Score predictions. Are you going to do that?
Oh,
y'all want to do it?
Y'all going to do that?
I mean,
come on with it.
Every week y'all
start
take
with him and work your way down to me. Come on.
Every week y'all take the show to another level.
Score prediction. Come on.
Okay.
Come on with it.
I gotta keep real. I mean, the Falcons, 27-14.
Cowboys.
Falcons, he said. You know he said Falcons.
Now, rest assured on my podcast, Jacques Talk, Clarence picked the Falcons. On the media match, he picked the Cowboys. I'm curious as to what he'll pick on this show.
Yeah, what you gonna pick on this show?
I'm gonna pick the Cowboys. They up against it. They up against the trouble.
We gonna give $100 to the closest score.
They up against the trouble.
$100 to whoever get close.
The Cowboys, I'm gonna pick them 23-20. Woo. They gonna pull something out their butt.
You done narrowed the score from this afternoon.
Y'all done narrowed it.
We're asking tomorrow.
Y'all ready for me?
Yeah.
Y'all
go
last.
I go last. The ambassador, Elliott. Come on.
Remember I said this to you, Cowboy Nation.
All right.
23-21. Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott, 15 carries for 110 yards.
God damn, listen. Can I get a 10 racks? Where'd I get them 10 racks at?
Out of my brother's vest pocket.
Can I get 10 racks on that? You heard it, 10 racks right here. 10
Out of my
racks.
brother's vest pocket.
10 racks right here.
All right. Let me see if I can top that.
Now we got to have him go now.
34.
They ain't scored 34 in 2 weeks.
34-28 Cowboys.
Man, you got
Come
34
on,
points?
34 points. Somehow
They gonna get a turnover?
You heard it here.
You heard it here.
You heard it
First. And Echo Lounge, baby.
And before we close out,
Come on.
show me the tape.
Show them tape.
You want them? Yeah, you want them 10 racks? Yeah. Show them the tape.
I got them
make it go viral.
I got those 10 bands
10 racks
in my brother's vest pocket.
He gonna pull it
My
out.
Buckeye brother.
He gonna pull it out.
Do y'all hear me?
10 racks. Show them
heard
10
it
racks.
34-28 Cowboys, baby.
Hey,
Let's go.
Appreciate you guys.
Cowboys.
We'll be back here next Thursday.
Come on
Cowboys
with
and
it.
chill. You know we have fun. Be in the house.
Yes.
Come on with it.
Go
Come on with
Cowboys.
it. Yeah.
Give me my theme music.